We are from Middle East Group. We are going to present our presentation about case study in Middle East region. Here is the list of the name of our member who will be present the presentation. Here is the table of contents. Introduction. So in this part, I'm going to explain briefly about the Gulf crisis and the GCC. Gulf crisis 2019-2020, also known as Iranian-American confrontation in Gulf, is an intensification of military tension between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States of America in Persian Gulf. The United States started to build up of its military presence in Persian Gulf to deter the aligned campaign by Iran and its non-state allies to attack the American forces in Persian Gulf and in Iraq. The tension between them increased in May 2019 after the United States deployed its military assets in the region after the threat to the US troops and Strait of Hormuz oil shipping. So what is GCC? GCC is Gulf Cooperation Council. It is a regional intergovernmental political economic union, consists of all Arab states in Gulf, which are Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Uni Arab Emirates, except Iraq. In 2001, Supreme Council of GCC set a following objective, which are custom union, common market, and common currency. We're also going to explain about the impact of this conflict to the GCC. Why GCC? You can see here in the map that the location of the conflict is near to the GCC member states, so it will be very impactful for them. So the conflict began when the United States withdrew from the JCPOA, or Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action nuclear deal, and it made the US return the sanctions against Iran. As a result, Iran oil production hit a low in historic. Iranian economic fell, and the tension between Iran and the US increased in Persian Gulf. According to BBC, on April 2019, the sanction led the sharp downturn of Iranian economy. The value of its currency pushed into a low record. Inflation rises drive away investors, and it triggered the protest.
So my name is Pricilia, and then now I will explain about the belligerents, or it can be said like the country that involved in that case. Basically, the main actors in here are Iran and United States. But other than that, there are also some country as the periphery country that become the allies for some countries. For the first, I will explain about the reason why Iran become the main actors. The reason why Iran become the main actors in here because the Persian Gulf is located in the heart of Middle East. And then the next is why United States become as one of the main actors. The reason why the United States become the main actors is because as we know that United States is one of the country that become the economic center, so they has a strong interest in avoiding any disruption to the global oil trade. Next, I will jump to the Saudi Arabia and Israel. The reason why these two countries involved in that case because Saudi Arabia and Israel, who are close allies of the United States, and then they are deeply concerned by the possibility of disruption. Other than that, Saudi Arabia has long been wary of Iran expanding its influence in the Middle East, while Israel and Iran have long had an easy relationship because Iran has used the war in Syria to establish a permanent military presence in the country. Now I will explain about the timeline of the case, or can be said as the coherent event of the Persian Gulf. In May 2019, this event started from the beginning of the month with some of small conflict. The point from this event happened is because both sides want to defend their country and all of their interests. And then it will become more complicated because there are some supporting party for both sides that are involved, like I said before. Okay, now I will next to the another event that happened in June 2019. In June 2019, the same incident in May happened again. Two oil tankers caught fire after allegedly being attacked. When both parties agreed to hold a dialogue about each other's actual behavior, and then the same incident happened again where United States again blamed the Iranian forces. In the same month, there is another event where the sanction and Iranian shoot down of United States drone. It's because they said that the drone had violated Iranian airspace. Next to the event that happened in July 2019, in July 2019 there are also two events that happened. The first one is United States downing the Iranian drones that had closed in within approximately 910 meters of the ship in the Persian Gulf. And then the second event is British and Iranian tanker Caesar, where the ship Caesar sparked a diplomatic crisis, and in here United States intervened through making a diplomatic solution for the overall crisis. Next to August 2019, in August 2019, there is Caesar of Iraq tanker and Grace 1 controversy, where the purpose of this seizing this ship is to enrich they country each other. And then next to the September 2019, there is Saudi Aramco attacks and release of Stena Impero. On 23rd of September, the Iranian president criticized the IMSC, the new United States-led maritime coalition set to patrol the region's waterways, and then they asked the Western powers to leave the security of the Persian Gulf to them, and it makes the Stena Impero, which was also able to transmit signal, departed from Iranian waters after around 2 months and Iranian detention.
Launch military operation by the United States. On November 7, 2019, the International Maritime Security Construct was established by United States and launched official operation in Bahrain to protect the shipping line near the troubled Iranian territorial water. The coalition opened its command center in the country to ward off the perceived threat to the global oil supply and the crisis. This operation, formed by the United Kingdom, Australia, Albania, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and United Emirates Arab, and the United States. On the other side, this operation is worrying for the GCC member countries who argue that it can drag them into the United States-Iran confrontation and warns the situation in the GCC member region. Control of the United States Embassy in Baghdad by Iraqi militias ordered by Iran. Increased tension in the water of the Persian Gulf by GCC member led the United States to send its troops to overcome tranquility in early December. On December 27, Iran, China, and Russia conducted naval exercises in the Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Oman. This caused concern for the United States, so it took action by sending U.S. Marines to increase security at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Iraq. However, on December 31, Iran attacked the outline of the United States Embassy in Baghdad, and that made tension between United States, Iran, and United States allies, included in GCC member increasingly. Violation of 2015 nuclear deal by Iran, section for Iraq by United States, expulsion of foreign militant by Iraq, and security concern in the Strait Hormuz. The targeting of assassination of Iran in Major General Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad, Iraq by President Donald Trump made the peak of Iran intolerable anger. Also, Iraqi paramilitary leader Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis and other IRCCG and Iraqi paramilitary personnel were also killed in a drone attack by United States. On 5 January 2020, Iran issued a statement that it will not abide by restrictions contained in the 2015 nuclear deal. This caused a tremendous tension, which threatened not only regional security but the world. Immediate reaction was shown by Britain, France, and Germany, threatening to activate a dispute agreement mechanism which reenacted European Union and United Nations sanctions against Iran. The security of the water in the region is also questionable, with the Iran military sailing around the area. At the same time, Iran accused Iraqi parliament to expel foreign troops from Iraq and agreed to it by issuing a resolution to expel all foreign troops, especially the United States, from Iraqi territory by quoting. The United States initially agreed to make resolution after the draft letter from Brigadier General William Hasili III addressed to Iraqi Ministry of Defense. However, the United States denied it from abiding by resolution and provided sanctions against the Iraqi military. Iran Baltan assault on the United States military commander and withdrawal of foreign troops in Iraq. Iran attack on 11 until 14 March 2020 at Camp Taji made the United States withdraw from the 3 of 8 bases in Iraq on 16 March 2020. This was also followed by Chess and France, who made withdrawal on 24 until 25 March 2020. Also followed by Iran official statement that will respond severally if the United States does anything to undermine security of Iran on April 3, 2020 by the Chief of Staff of the Iran Armed Forces, Muhammad Baghir. This of course raised the concern of GCC member states of the regional security due to injuries that would trigger a war.
My name is Renata Muridang. I will explain about reaction in Persian Gulf crisis, and the reaction will be divided into two parts. First is national reaction, and the second is other reaction. First, I will explain about national reaction. Regarding the ongoing situation between the US and Iran, China opposed the implementation of unilateral sanctions and the long-arm jurisdiction imposed by United States. Currently, China's reaction is to urge both Iran and the US to maintain calm and de-escalate tension and closely monitor the situation. China doesn't want war and needs Middle East stability to pursue the Belt and Road Initiative Eurasian Integration Plan. And the second is responding to state tension between the US and Iran. France said that they don't need US approval in terms of negotiating with Iran. French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian said, regarding the nation's stance on tension between the US and Iran, France doesn't need American approval to negotiate with Iran, and he also criticized Trump's approach on the tension alongside other French diplomats. The third is India supports prioritizing diplomacy, dialogue, and building trust in the interest of maintaining peace and security and stability in the Bay. This was said on September 26, 2019 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi when meeting with Iranian President Rouhani at the UN General Assembly in New York City. Next is Oman gave a statement to Iran to release the British oil tanker Tannia Elvirra, which was captured by Iran in response to British capture of an Iranian tanker in Gibraltar. The ministry also called on Iran and Britain to resolve dispute with diplomacy. Next is Pakistan strongly condemned the drone strikes of Saudi oil facilities, reiterating its full support and solidarity with Saudi Arabia for any threats to its security and territorial integrity. And Russia questions American claims about Iranian drone shooting. They said that the evidence was unclear and said that US didn't know intelligent data to prove the aircraft belonged to Iran. And the last one is Saudi Arabia doesn't want a war in the region, but they also do not hesitate if they have to face threats to their people. It was said by Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Muhammad bin Salman. He said, "We don't want war in this region, but we will not hesitate to face threats to our people, our sovereignty, the integrity of our territory, and our vital interests." Next, I will explain about other reaction. First is former rebel leader that in a war situation between the US and Iran, he will support Iran. Why? Because that will be the same as supporting Hezbollah in a war against Israel. Second is Muqtada al-Sadr said that he opposed Iraq being dragged into this war and serve as a place for the US-Iran conflict. Because the war between Iran and the US will be the end of Iraq, and all those who will drag Iraq into the war and turn it into a place of the conflict will become enemies for the Iraqi people. Gibraltar rejects US request to hold Iranian oil tanker, claiming they will violate European Union law. And the last one is the Syrian National Coalition warns of danger of inaction by Iran in Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, and the war that it managed in the region directly or indirectly, and the latest aggression against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
So what is the impact of the conflict to GCC? First, it will threaten the use of the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is the most important shipping route for the oil supply in the world, and most export crude oil and hydrocarbons from GCC member countries and non-GCC member country will pass through this strait. If the strait is closed, it will affect the export activity, which can affect the economic of these countries. Second, GCC member states and other Gulf state sovereign will face a risk. Tension will affect the creditworthiness of government, increase the cost of government funding, disruption of foreign direct investment, expatriates, and other population movement, which can damage the prospect of economic growth and jeopardize the government's fiscal position, including for foreign exchange support. Third, there will be escalating tension between the respective regional allies, both Iran and the US, that can threaten the security and stability of GCC members. The long conflict that already exists in Middle East will be exacerbated by this tension. There is a possibility with the effect of spill in Iraq, Yemen, and Syria, and the Gulf Cooperation Council member states will be further involved, and complex politics in Israel, Lebanon, Jordan will also be affected.
Conclusion. The action of United States that withdraw from the Nuclear Agreement Comprehensive Joint Action Plan and sanction against Iran caused a crisis that occurred in Persian Gulf and impacted on the loss of trust between each member of GCC in this region, especially United States allies such as Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and United Arab Emirates. This presence of the United States has led to a confrontation with Iran and Iraq, which referred to more significant conflict, that is nuclear war, which not only threaten regional security and state sovereignty but also threaten world security. This is shown by national and international reaction against the war between Iran, Iraq, and the United States to end it immediately. The presence of military operation formed by United States to protect Strait Hormuz from this crisis is considered to be personal interest of the United States in this region, which threaten the sovereignty and stability of GCC member countries, which pose a higher risk.